Welcome to the fish tank.
Hey everybody, Fishman here. A little while back I had posted a video. It was entitled DIY Algae Scrubber Encased in Aluminum. That filter came about because I had a client who first off had no money and had an aquarium which pretty much had no filtration on it, and it was one of those perfect times to test something out. So I talked to them and said I could build them an algae scrubber and it would definitely improve their situation. The thing that surprised me was actually how well it did. I wasn't really expecting to, pretty much remove all the nitrate. The downside of that particular filter was whenever I would clean the filter, I would end up, not completely eliminating its ability to remove nitrates, but it would reduce it sufficiently that I would end up with a spike in nitrate. And I figured, I needed to design a way to stop that, or at least mitigate it enough that, or I should say, smooth out those peaks. So this is the 2.0 version. This filter is going to have multiple chambers, and that way whenever I clean one of them, the others will take up the slack, and what will happen, hopefully, is I'll end up with a much smoother and much more stable environment for more delicate things. The other thing you'll notice is I am building this out of glass. The last one was made out of acrylic. Whenever I build anything that's going to hold any amount of water, this is only going to hold maybe, if it were completely full, about 10 gallons, maybe 15 gallons of water. It's not a lot. And I know there's lots of places and people who make acrylic aquariums, and they hold an awful lot more water than that. I'm just comfortable working with glass, and like I said, it's just my preference. Also, you notice that I've been kind of talking about pretty much everything else except how to build a fish tank. If you guys are interested, or anyone at all is interested in a more detailed explanation of how to build a fish tank from scratch, like mostly like these smaller ones, I know I've already posted one on for 175 gallon. But if you're interested in building little tanks, just leave a comment below, let me know. And if there is enough interest, I will go through all the pros and cons, and also the more of a how-to on how to do this instead of just watching me build one. So just let me know. Now, I'm going to switch over to fast forward here shortly for this build because even though this is the part that holds the water, it really doesn't do anything other than that. It's the innards that are going to be with this that are going to make this filter work. There's going to be a couple differences. First off, the rest of it's going to be made out of acrylic because as when I build trickle filters like that one in the back corner there, the chamber itself I like in glass, but I always pretty much build the innards out of acrylic. That way, when I'm moving things around inside, I don't end up with glass banging against glass, which can obviously be a serious problem. And the other thing that's going to be different in this particular one is the last filter was completely submerged in water. The water flowed through it. There was chaeto and algae and other stuff in there. Just watch the video. It would, you can see all the details for that there. This one is going to be more of a more like a water wall than anything else. I'm going to have acrylic slanting down from the top to the bottom, and water is going to sheen over that, and the light is going to be on focused on that surface. The reason for doing that is it's going to have greater gas exchange, and also it's also going to have, because there's a thinner layer of water, more of the water is going to come in contact with the algae. So as it flows through, the algae will have a greater chance of removing more nitrates. Now, technically what I should have done for a 2.0 version, I think, would have been to build the same style as last time and just multiple chambers. Two small problems with that. First off, the tank that this is going on, this has to go underneath, and it's more difficult to get the water to flow properly in that style with this sort of setup. And the other thing is to build multiple of those chambers with multiple setups and of course like multiple power supplies and everything else. It was just getting to the point where it would be a little bit more expensive. Building one tank here is just much more efficient, and also I wanted to try something slightly different. Like I said, the last one worked really well, but I think that this should work better. But then again, it might be a bit of a gamble. So here what I'm doing now is skipping ahead to building the acrylic inserts. Now, you don't need to use a milling machine to do this. What I could have done is just put a couple small wedges underneath, but I didn't want to have an extra joint there. So what I've done is I just routed out a nice little trough here. This is going to fit on top of the sheets where the water is going to go down, and that's what it's going to do is even out the flow over the whole surface. Well, hopefully anyway. And this is going to be the spray bar. Because the flow rate through the system is going to be relatively low, well, obviously the water needs to have time to come in contact with the algae. That spray bar is actually going to be tilted upwards into the back, and then the water is going to be allowed to collect in that little trough that's being made right there, and then it will spread out and go through that part that I routed out, and then go down over the sheets. So that's where the spray bar is going to go. And then what I need to do is probably make the smallest acrylic bond I've ever made, that teeny little piece right there. Surprisingly, that actually does hold it quite well. So the other thing I need to do is, because this is smooth, is I need to rough up the surface, give the algae somewhere to adhere to. Now, I could have just attached another piece of crating or whatever else to this for the algae to grow on, but I wanted to keep it as simple as possible, and this is the easiest way. Just make it rough. Now, this is going to be where the lights are going to be attached to. They're going to fit on exactly the same as I've done for so many other things so far, so I'm not going to go through any of the details of that. Just watch any of the LED light builds I've done. It's pretty much all the same thing, just sand it up so it's rough, so the silicone will stick to it and bind to it, and it'll hold it together. Then what I'm going to do here is glue all that together and hook up the lights. And again, I'm skipping over that because, like I said, you've seen it all before. So this is going to be the light panel. 4 strips should be more than enough, and that's going to fit over. I have to build a bracket still for that, but that's all going to have to be custom done on site, so that'll be for a later video. And then what I'm going to do here is just show you how it's going to sit on it. And then pretty much that's going to be the end of this video for the moment. Sorry, I realized as I looked up, I saw my arm was in the way, so you couldn't really see the lights. There we go. Yeah, much easier to see there. You figure I get used to that after a while. So anyway, I'm going to hook this up now. This is how it's all going to fit together. That's where the water is going to sheen down over. And like I said, each of these can be taken out individually, cleaned, put back, and then this obviously needs to have a test flow to see if the flow will be proper for it. And then what I'm going to do is take it to the clients, hook it all up, and get it running. A few weeks from now, I'll give you an update on this, and we'll see how it all turns out. So thank you very much for watching. I'm going to give you one last look at it here. And if you like this style of video, please like and or subscribe. And what we'll do here is end up with showing you a front end view. And this is where all the water is going to come down. And hopefully we're going to get some good algae growth. And because of, like I said, the multi-chamber thing, it's going to make it much more stable. That's what I'm aiming for here. And the other thing I forgot to mention is a little clamp I put there just to hold it all together. Just so it doesn't shift around. So anyway, thanks again, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.